So, friends, you can.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Show me a hand.
More than a hand.
All right, good afternoon. So I think we're all ready to start. Good afternoon, and let me begin by thanking the organizers of this wonderful conference and for this unique opportunity for presenting at the inaugural Emerging Leaders Dialogue Asia 2016 on this day, 20th of October 2016 in Kuala Lumpur. The Association of Emerging Leaders and the Commonwealth Study Conference Association of Malaysia. So my grateful thanks to them, and my grateful thanks to the participants for giving me this opportunity to speak today. So,
can you touch my phone?
The topic, the objective of ELGA, if you notice in their brochure, is this. They say, creating globally connected leaders is one. That's the main objective. The theme of this conference is sustainability leadership to identify, encourage, build sustainability leadership. So my presentation, I've tried to tailor it towards the objective of this ELGA conference of identify, engage, and retain. In other words, to discover sustainable leaders. We need to have a method, a sure method, a quantifiable method. There's no room for mistakes here because we have heard all our speakers. Otherwise, the planet is going down. So whoever is going to lead this charge, we get it wrong, we put humanity at risk. So, we need a method which can definitively measure and identify and develop, build, retain sustainable leaders. So my presentation is geared towards that. And let me begin that today I'm going to talk about a method which we have developed over the last few years, me and my team, to discover sustainable leadership, not only to identify, but to retain, but to engage and retain. It's 360 degrees. You just can't just identify, you have to do the whole work, because there are some leaders at different stages of development, so you have to go the whole hog. And the third topic under this session, on which my topic falls, is called Stories of Sustainable Leadership. Now, I don't know stories, I know story, one. And the story that anybody narrates should know it as best as they can. The only story that I can tell about is about the self, my own story, because just to know myself is a lifetime's work, so I don't know if I can narrate anybody's story and do justice to it. So I'll try and tell you briefly my own story. And knowing yourself, I think, is the ultimate journey, because in the self, I believe, is a complete total knowledge of what was, is, and will be. Is contented in that, is in the self. You know, by the way, the DNA is very unique. It never ever loses any information. For millions of years, it keeps on collecting. So when I say who we are as a person, or what was, is, and will be, is contained in myself, or in ourselves. If I can know myself in a lifetime, which I think is pretty tough, that is more than enough. It looks a little crowded, this graphic. I've tried to put everything about myself over the last 42 years in one shot, so bear with me if it looks too crowded. I will not spend more than 30 seconds on myself, because I don't think my story is any worth telling than all the stories out here. The fantastic stories of so many people. I'm just one of you. And I'm just trying to put this here because so that I can keep a check on myself. Now what I did was this. I built a framework to look at myself. I call it the 8E framework. The first 5 E's, of course, you gather the inputs before you give. That's education. And then comes your experience as an executive for me, then an entrepreneur, and then the experience and the experience. The 5E is what I have, and then the 3E is the lens through which I try to measure myself. And by the way, those 3 E's are the pillars of sustainable leadership, as greatly understood by all models across the world. So for the first 15 years, as you can see, I was trying to make a living. So I was mostly focused on economic, after my MBA, and, in India, and as president of a newspaper, and so on and so forth. That's 93 to 2000 to 2007. In 2010, I tried to now think of the planet and created a series of conferences called Save Our Planet, which we did over 4 years, bringing thousands of speakers around 25 countries in 5 conferences. That was in 2010 to 2012. And in 2013, 14, and 15, I tried to look at the social part, where I started a few foundations to spread perfect health. A 10,000-year-old routine to keep myself, body, mind, and spirit, like a laser beam every day, which I've started doing for the last 5 years, every day. I took it to my mother, who passed away in 2013. I was late by 3 months. And as my regret, so I started a foundation in her name. Today I created a Facebook page called Perfect Health Society. And to spread that among hundreds of people around the planet who are doing that. That's a personal thing. There's nothing commercial. There's a foundation. That's Y plus 4. Y plus 4, the 5 steps to perfect health. Y stands for yoga. The plus 4 is 10,000-year-old routine, which I do every single day for the last 5 years. Based on the best-selling book by Deepak Chopra called Perfect Health, by the way. So you can go and get that book. In 2014, I have lived in Thailand for 15 years. And Southeast Asia is my, as my working home. Malaysia is my second home. But India and China and ASEAN will be the biggest story of our century, because that's 3.1 billion people. I'm trying to create a platform to connect these 3 regions. So I did ASEAN first. Now I'm building India Business Bridge in India, and then we go off to China. And finally, in 2015, after years of innovation, we brought forth Self Analysis, which is called SXA. And what is SXA? Is an innovation in measurement and training, an IB in SCM and leadership for sustainable development. Now that's about me, which is more than enough. Moving on next, what's the next steps? Now there are many next steps, but I thought it prudent to put 3 points of convergence at the conference that I've come to. And as my token of gratitude, these 3 points I'm offering to Elder, knowing their objectives and in convergence with our objectives. The first is, of course, we're talking about identify, encourage, build sustainable leadership. SXA does that. Identify, engage, and retain. So we have some point of convergence there. We are more than happy to work with Elder on this venture with our tool. The second, they're connecting globally connected leaders. We've been doing that for the last 8 years under our business platform, ASEAN Business Council. And we will continue to do that. Under that, we're going to have the Bangkok, Beijing, Bombay Business Bridge to bring thousands of enterprises and people on one platform. Plus the next series of Save Our Planet conferences, 6 to 10 over the next couple of years. And the third is the launch of National Center for Sustainability Leadership, which happens on the 30th of October. We are planning an SXA ASEAN Talent Management Center in ASEAN. It can be KL, it can be Bangkok, it can be Singapore. I'm more than happy to scale in conjunction with the center that is coming. So that's the next few steps that we are planning. Now, let's get down to sustainability leadership. Now, there are various models and various definitions. Now, I tried to pick one, which is, as you can see on the screen. And these are the factors of sustainable leadership. The only word I think which jumps at you is that in capital letter. The leader has to begin with himself. If the leader does not know who he is, he doesn't know himself, then come on, he can't lead anybody else, can he? He's got to know himself. Because all sustainability has to start with a personal commitment, pledge, contribution. There's no skirting that. The leader's got to commit, I'm going to put in 100% into this, my personal commitment, and I'm going to do what I say. But once he does that, then he can inspire and transform the group, organization, society, nation, and so on and so forth. The 3 pillars of economic sustainable leadership is economic, ethical, and ecological responsibility. So now, the leaders, as I said, need to walk the talk. Now, he got to know himself not in one dimension, 2 dimensions, or 3 dimensions, but at least in multi-dimensions. And the multi-dimensions, I can think of 5 dimensions that I'm showing here. At least he got to know his motivation. What does he want out of this? Money, power, fame, authority, achievement, what? He got to know that precisely, that's one. Second, he got to know how effective is he. It can be 50%, no problem. But he got to know. There's no second guess into it. If it's 50%, you work on the other 50%. But you got to know how effective you are as a leader. The third, you got to know. You're talking of nature, you're talking of planet. Am I aligned with nature? Am I practicing the natural laws, which are immutable natural laws from the beginning of time till the end of time, and they'll never change? So am I in alignment with the laws, or am I not? There's no discussion. It's like Newton's law of gravity. I jump off a building, I don't go up, I go down. The natural laws, is he following them or is he not? Is he in alignment with them, is he not? The fourth, it is established already in the world of entrepreneurial talent profile. There are various kinds of talents. There are 8 kinds of talents. And all of us fit one, not the 7, okay? One dominant talent. The others are supporting. The leader got to know what is his natural talent profile. Is he an inventor? Is he a team leader? Is he a project manager? Is he a mechanic? Is he a trader? You got to know. All of them can be leader, no problem. But you got to know what is your natural strength and profile. And then you use it to serve your mission. The fish example, if you're a fish, you're a fish. You're not going to climb the tree. But the fish is also useful. That's why nature made it. Nothing wrong with the fish. And finally, without communication, nothing happens. If a leader doesn't know how to communicate effectively, powerfully, precisely, forget, he cannot sell anything. Not his ideas, not his plans, nothing. So these are the 5 dimensions and 34 attributes. Why 34 attributes? Why not 70? Why not 50? Why not 100? We'll show you now the SXA model of sustainability. Let me present to you now what I call the SMS. The SXA model of sustainability. As you can see, there is a star in all of us. Okay? We're all stars in our own right. Because I believe I was made a star by the Lord, by the Maker. If He says we are a star, we are a star. Let nobody else tell us what we are. It is the manufacturer who put a label on us, I'm a star, so we are all stars. But you got to know. As a star, you got to know yourself. But how do you know yourself? You look at yourself in multi dimensions. Those cones of the stars are like prisms, the 5 prisms looking at the same person. Now, each of the dimensions have their own attributes. Together there are 34. Some of the attributes are in motivation, safety, love, money, respect. Or let's come to natural laws. Your life purpose, detachment, karma. Do you practice pure potential? What does that mean? That everything comes from the pure potential and you manifest that through your actions in the real world. Do you practice that? Do you believe that? A leader got to know that, but we are all leaders, as I said. It's not leader, it's somebody with a label, is the CEO. No. In this, we are all leaders. Because there will be a leader who will take us to the promised land, but you all got to know our paths too. If you're blind followers, then don't blame the disaster if it comes, because you got to know even who you are before you follow the leader. And as I was saying about talent profile, there are 8 talent profiles there. As you can see, project manager, analyst, inventor, and so on and so forth. And in selling and communication skills, there are 7 attributes in all. What the SXA model does is gives you one report, 5 dimensions, 34 attributes. Now, how does it work? Somebody may say. So, I know there may be a question, so let me take you a little detail. So, this is how it works. The SXA system measures, analyzes, and diagnoses. I call it MAD. Some people call me MAD, so I couldn't come up with a better acronym, so it stands for MAD, measures, analyzes, and diagnoses on 34 attributes across 5 dimensions. It is scientifically designed. Years of innovation and research has gone into developing the system. Then what is generated is a SXA test report, as you can see, CRR, the complete reflection report. You take a questionnaire, online questionnaire, 120 questions. It takes around 30 minutes, and your report of 20 pages is generated in 10 seconds with 2,500 calculations running behind, which is our algorithm and our software. But now we know that some of my attributes will be functional, some will be dysfunctional. What's the solution? How do I make the dysfunctional functional? So we have an SXA training program, 3 stages, foundation, intermediate, advanced, which helps you to take your dysfunctional skills and move towards functionality. Finally, I call SIM, as I said, fulfillment of spiritual, intellectual, and material needs. Now, can somebody tell me who said the following line? Man cannot live by bread alone. I could hear that. A little louder, please. Christ said that. Man cannot live by bread alone. Isn't it true? When we finish our lunch, you should go back to the hotel and sleep. What are you doing here? We're fulfilling our I and our S needs. That's why we're all here. We need to fulfill all the 3. What does that mean? I have a lot of materialism, still I'm not happy if I don't have the other 2. Or I have a lot of spirituality and I'm starving. Cannot be. It is S plus I plus M. So the debate, whether you need growth or you don't need growth, pardon me, is a false debate. You need both. Tell a hungry man the fossil fuel industry is polluting the planet. He couldn't care less. He cares about his belly at that moment. You got to, this is how the SXA helps you to look at what level of needs you are. So, SIM fulfillment is something that it helps you towards knowing what level of motivation you are, how far you are from that. It gives you the precise measure. And the most important part, the entire system is based on measure, 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 measure. Measure before, measure after, before, measure after. You got to measure, otherwise nothing will get done. There will be a lot of talk and there will be no walk. This is a snapshot of after you take the test of 120 questions, what you get. That is the cover of the report. On the right, you get the distribution of attributes. There are 34 attributes, there are scores, and there is a scale of fulfillment and functionality. The red stands for highly dysfunctional or highly unfulfilled.
5 more minutes.
And the green and the blue. The blue stands for the opposite, the highly fulfilled and the highly functional. This is the aggregate result. We have carried out hundreds of tests now in the world. We have put them all together here for you and taken out look at the bottom, what comes out as the highest unfulfilled need. More than money is respect and recognition. From who? It's self-esteem actually. And you know what self-esteem is? The self. You know? We need to respect ourselves at the end of the day, as well as get respect from others. And that is something which is the dire need in the world today. We don't respect anybody anymore because we have stopped respecting ourselves, in capital S-E-L-P-E-S. But the potential, the desire to fulfill one's potential is very high in everybody, as you can see the scores. But they are unable to fulfill it because what we find is because of this key lack or dysfunction, smart work, detachment, people cannot prioritize. If you cannot prioritize, you cannot focus. And foresight, they can't see ahead. Now, these are skills that we have in our training program, okay? I will move on fast. This presentation is an overview, so I can't give you the details, but when I reach the end of my presentation, I'll give you the link to the presentation. So, allow me to move fast because I have to keep on time. This is how the training looks like, the 3 stages. This is a snapshot of a Foundation Day training program, a full 2-day program. This is the complete course map. There are 6 tests, 3 training programs, and in between the training programs are the longitudinal contact, online contact, to help you move along. At the end of it, you are a certified SXA person, trainer, whatever you call that. Now, these are case studies of real enterprises. It's a case study of a company. 13 of the top members entered the foundation course. The last columns, you can see. The last three columns shows you the first column is pre-training, post-training, delta training, means the net output of the training, after the training. The green color shows improvements or 25 attributes jump in improvement immediately after 2 days training. Now, why does that happen? When you know what is your dysfunctional skills, if you know what are your unfulfilled areas, you re-energize, you reduce, recognize, redistribute. And when you focus on something, it is bound to improve. There are some testimonials from across the world, including from Kish Ravuri of Perception Management Malaysia. You took the test and you gave me your feedback. Most of them said that it was eye-opener, it was stunning, it was unbelievable, it was accurate, and so on and so forth. I am just giving you their testimonials. In conclusion, this is a slide I call the Sin Torus, where everything comes together, the self. In one line, if the life, the mission of life. If I were to put it in one sentence, what is the meaning of life, what is the purpose of life? 2 things. Know, self, and evolve. Would you agree? Anybody disagrees or agrees? The ultimate purpose is to know ourselves and evolve towards fulfilling our life's purpose, whatever that may be. So this is the whole system. As I said, it's a simple system, 360-degree simple system. It helps you identify, engage, retain for enterprises. It helps the individual to know himself and evolve. It measures, analyzes, and diagnoses, and helps you train, fulfill, and evolve. This is my penultimate slide. I have one more slide to go. So I have a question for all of you. Would you like to test the test? Would you like to know firsthand how it works? I'd like to see a show of hands. Would you like to take the test, the SXA test, and know how it works for you? I want to see a show of hands, and if it is a majority, I'm going to make an offer. And if it's a minority, okay, it looks like, okay, here's the slide. For the delegates of the Elder Conference, we have a special offer. Complimentary, okay? Take out your smartphones now, register timescoltd.com/ELDA, and it should be small letters, okay? Don't make capital letters. In that, you give your contact details, just 4, your name, email, and submit. On the same page, you will get a confirmation button at the bottom, done. Do done. On the same page, you will get a link to the questionnaire and a link to my presentation. That's all. And you can take the test. We will generate your CRR and mail it to you. It is automatic, okay? There's no intervention on human. So you submit, the report is generated, and it comes back to you. This is $100. It is complimentary, my token of appreciation to you for listening to my presentation and to Elder. So I would be looking forward to all of you taking the test, and it's a simple step, timescoltd.com/ELDA. But it is between 20th and 22nd October only, so you have to do it between that period, please. I have come to the end of my presentation. My contact details are here. You can also contact me. You can see on the screen, on the bottom there. I thank you, all of you. I thank Malaysia. I thank this great conference and the organizers for giving me this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you. So generous. Take up on the offer, right? Okay, questions. Two questions. Okay, one here, please.
Hi, sorry, my name's Emma. I was wondering, once you've done the strengths test, because I did a different version of the strengths test recently and I'm doing some career
I can't hear you quite well.
Sorry, I'm doing some career coaching and I did a different strengths test recently. And my coach was talking about using those strengths. So I wondered if, in your opinion, it's better to focus on using the things that you come out more strongly in, or whether you should try to eliminate the areas of weakness that you have. Which is the best approach, or do you need to focus on both?
You know, the strength and the weakness, who decides that for you? I don't decide. Our test doesn't decide. Our test calls for a star. So what is the strength and the weakness? I know very well. I belong to the corporate world. But I have this question. I involved myself. I've done that for years. Who has the right to decide? I cannot decide for myself, let alone for you. You get the answer to your question, right? So who is telling you this is your strength, this is your weakness, and blah, blah, blah. I don't know. I don't have the knowledge on myself, let alone you. So, if you want my advice, get to know yourself. Do not depend on any test, neither this one. This is a mirror, nothing else. It works for the same for everybody. When I developed this system 2 years ago, I told my team, you got to test this, right? So who shall be the first guy? So my team said, hey, John, this and that. I said, hang on now. There's only one guy who should be exposed to this machine, myself. And I took the test. And I keep taking the test every year. So I told my team, let me know how imperfect I am, or how far do I have to go to reach the stars. If you ask me, actually, I made the tool for myself first. And it worked for me. Then I shared it with my friends. Then I shared with HR directors around the world. I know some, my background is in media, the government, CEOs, SLA across the world, expecting to Harvard, to plenty of universities, top guys. And they came and told me, this has never been done before. You're measuring spirituality of a person. I said, why not? Aren't we all an integrated whole? Aren't we just a body? Aren't we a body, a mind, and a spirit? And if you can measure the body and the mind, why not the spirit? So, madam, you go ahead and take the test. You have all the things that you need. Everybody has 34 attributes, right? You need, and you are unique from me or the rest of the person. Take the test and see how accurate or not it is. And we will look for your feedback. If it is not accurate, I want to hear from you. I want to make it better. I want your help to make this better. Because the only layman in this room is me. I have the best experts around me. Trust me, I don't know the answers. I am a student like you, or all of us. We are trying to evolve and help all of us. We can do a lot of work on sustainability if we have a true measurement of what we are doing, what we are talking about. This is a tool. Take it and do all the wonderful work that you are doing already. But you don't have a measurement. So you are fighting, you are struggling. Gurmeet Singh, the old man, I know him from my Seva Planet, Malaysia conference 2010. He was frustrated in 2010. Now he's doubled today. I feel sorry because he's been working hard for 40 years. And the system will kill him, I know that. But if he had a measurement with a report to give it to the government, data is very strong, you know. They can't fight data. So what I'm telling you is this is more than just a personality test. It's not a personality test at all actually, by the way. It's a self-analysis test which can be evolved, which has already evolved for enterprises, for companies, for governments, for societies. And we are planning to take it to millions of people in the world. We're setting up partners across the planet, right now in Houston. In India, I just came back. In Malaysia, we're working. If all of you who are coming from various places, I'm open to working with all of you to find partners in various countries in the world. My mission is to take it to 9 million people. It may not happen in my lifetime, it doesn't matter. I'll start the process. One man doesn't complete that. But every human being needs it because we all need to know ourselves.
Okay, any more questions? Straight to the point, very quick one, please.
When you mentioned before that respect and recognition was the biggest unfilled need that the metrics are showing when you run tests, is that consistent across age groups, demographics?
Well, we have a lot of data now, and we are still accumulating. This is an aggregate score, okay? Now, when you say to drill down into age group, income, and all that, that's coming. But this was pretty symptomatic because what we have here. You see the testimonials, some of the testimonials. It's across the world. The entrepreneurs, there are students, there are male, there is female, all kinds of groups. But it's a human condition, Before I want to stay at a human, we will get down to the drilling. The data that is coming to us is a gold mine. I know that. What are you talking about? I am happy to. You can email me, and you can talk to my head of my testing department and all those guys, the PhDs and the doctors. I'm a simple man. I don't have any PhD, but they can answer all the data scientific questions. But I can tell you this much. Yes, there's a lot of data. We can tell you more. So sure, yes.
Okay, with that, fantastic. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Right.